Hello class, good morning. So for this week, our topic is all about Mycobacterium. So pagdating class sa general characteristic ng Mycobacterium, as I have mentioned to you last time, meron siyang characteristic na may cholic acid in their cell wall. Structurally, it also has a very thick cell wall just like the gram-positive. But for the mycobacteria, it has a very high lipid content. So technically, they are pagdating sa structure, it's the same with the gram-positive bacteria. However, you cannot stain them using the gram stain kasi nga iba yung acid na meron siya. Meron siyang myconic acid in their cell wall plus a very thick lipid layer. Okay? That's why you can only stain this using the acid-fast stain, which I'm going to discuss later. So mycobacteria, it is very difficult to propagate. Bakit class? Kasi nga, it will take some time. It will take about 4 weeks for it to grow. Okay? Yung iba, meron naman mga rapid growers. Yung iba naman talaga, slow growers. So mga 4 weeks to 6 weeks bago tumubo sa culture. And if you're going to culture it, kailangan niya ng increase CO2 in order for it to be enhanced for you to isolate the pathogen. So pagdating class sa mga significant pathogens, ang pinaka-common that we can encounter is of course the Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex. Okay? So ano ba yung Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex na yan? So that is the pathogen that causes what you call the TB or tuberculosis, particularly the Mycobacterium tuberculosis type. So pagdating sa complex, again, kaya tinawag siyang complex kasi hindi lang isang microorganism. Meron kang Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Mycobacterium bovis, you have the bovis BCG, Africanum, capri, and other species pa. But ang pinaka-significant pathogen natin dyan is of course the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which is considered as the longest running significant pandemic worldwide. Bakit siya tinawag na pandemic, 'di ba? Kasi nga it is being spread through airborne or infectious aerosols, okay? So paano ka nagkakaroon ng tuberculosis? Paano ka nahawaan? It is actually community acquired, okay? It is one of the most common community acquired disease, okay, in public health. So you can get this infection by inhaling what they call the droplet nuclei. Ito yung mga talsik ng laway ng pasyente na may TB na may mga bacteria. Yung droplet nuclei niyan, they're very small, about 1 to 5 micrometer in size. That's why they can travel through air currents. Tinatangay sila ng hangin. Kaya nga ito, madali itong kumalat sa community. And who are the one at risk to having tuberculosis infection? Either children or elderly, or those with impaired immune system. Yung mga tao na merong impaired cell-mediated immunity. Okay? Again, when you say cell-mediated immunity, this is your defense mechanism against microorganism or bacteria wherein your cells, tulad ng mga phagocytes, macrophages, they will engulf yung mga bacteria by performing phagocytosis. And you also have the T cells, di ba? Yung mga T cells mo that will actually activate lysis of the cells. Okay? Or what you call the toxic cytotoxic T cells that will trigger the lysis of those cells. Okay? Kaya nga naman, kailangan mo ng malakas na immune system to defend yourself against this pathogen. Now, another one is the Mycobacterium bovis, which I'm going to talk about later. But for now, mag-discuss muna tayo about Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So let's focus on tuberculosis muna, okay? So again, TB is one of the oldest documented communicable disease that is a leading cause of morbidity and mortality globally. Okay? Kasi nga naman, sabi ko nga kanina, it is spread through airborne, through the infectious droplet or what you call the droplet nuclei. Ito, droplet nuclei na napakaliit ng size, kaya madali siyang kumalat sa community. Again, the people who become exposed sa tuberculosis, not all of them will become infected. Okay? Pwede naman na ma-expose ka, pero hindi ka nagkaroon ng sakit. But those people with impaired cellular immunity is the one who is at risk to getting the infection, to getting the disease. Also, it depends on the infective dose and the strain the strain of the bacteria that infects you. Okay? So ano ba yung mga sintomas ng tuberculosis? So the first manifestation of tuberculosis is what you call primary tuberculosis. And what are the signs and symptoms? Meron kang mali, weight loss, night sweats, cough, sputum, ang sputum niya pwede tinatawag na productive or non-productive. Kapag productive cough, ibig sabihin noon, merong plema. Kapag non-productive cough, dry cough. And then yung plema niya, minsan, merong blood. Ang tawag ay hemoptysis. Yung iba, wala namang blood. Okay? Now again, you can get this through coughing, sneezing, or talking with someone na merong tuberculosis. Kaya nga class, kapag nasa ospital tayo, we have to practice biosafety whenever we are entering the TB ward. Kasi class, yung mga may TB sa ospital, inihiwalay sila. Meron silang sariling ward. So kung kailangan natin magpunta doon sa TB ward to collect sample, anong ginagawa natin? We wear appropriate mask with respirator. Okay? Gumagamit tayo ng mask na merong respirator with filters. Kasi nga naman, that will protect us from getting the infection because talking with them, inhaling their sneeze, inhaling their cough, di ba? Doon ka maahawa. Okay? So again, that's how you get infected. So the droplets can enter your respiratory tract and can also reach your lung alveoli. Doon na siya pwede mag-spread at mag-start ng infection. Now, normally, if you are a person with a very strong immune system, gagaling ka dapat. Okay? So, if you become infected, kailangan mo magpagamot, 'di ba? Gagamutin ka muna by undergoing the antibiotic therapy. Ngayon, once treatment has started, kailangan mag-respond ka sa treatment. Okay? If that happens, what will happen to you? You're going to form what they call the granuloma wherein the bacteria, the tuberculosis, is being encapsulated by macrophages, fibroblasts, lymphocytes, and proteins that will form a capsule surrounding the bacteria. And then kapag na-encapsulate na siya doon, mamamatay na yung mga bacteria. That's how you can heal. Okay? So once nakakita ka ng granuloma, that is a sign of healing o tinatawag nila na peklat sa baga. Kapag may peklat ka na sa baga, ibig sabihin nun, gumaling ka na, nagkaroon ka ng past infection ng tuberculosis noon. Okay? So again, yung mga at risk dito is either yung mga children, yung mga bata, or elderly, or people with impaired cell-mediated immunity. At sino yung mga tao na yon? Yung mga merong HIV and also cancer. Sila yung mga at risk to getting TB. And even sometimes people with diabetes din, okay, are at risk to getting TB. Now, let's say gumaling ka na, 'di ba? Meron ka ng granuloma. So there is a chance na mag-reactivate siya. Ang tawag dun ay reactivation tuberculosis. So paano nangyayari yung reactivation na yan? Kasi class, even though na-encapsulate na yung bacteria, hindi naman 100% namatay. Yung iba, nag-survive pa rin doon sa granuloma. They remain dormant in the granuloma for months or years. That's why class, kapag ikaw ay na-re-expose ka sa TB, so yun na naging trigger, na-re-expose ka ulit sa TB, or biglang nagkaroon ka ng immunosuppression, let's say tumanda ka, naging elderly ka, bumaba immune system mo, or nagkasakit ka, nagkaroon ka ng cancer or HIV, dahil sa status of immunosuppression. Your TB from the childhood, okay, or your TB from your youth can reactivate, causing what you call the reactivation TB. Kapag nag-reactivation TB ka, ano mangyari sa'yo? Babalik ka ulit sa primary symptoms like this one. Okay? Yan ang nangyari sa reactivation TB. Now, sometimes there are people that they undergo what you call latent TB. Kapag latent TB class, ibig sabihin noon, meron kang infection pero wala kang symptoms. Ang tanong, are you infectious kung meron kang latent TB? Nakakahawa ka ba? The answer is no. Hindi ka nakakahawa class kasi nga wala kang symptoms. Again, makukuha mo ito through sneezing, coughing, and talking, di ba? Eh wala ka namang cough, wala ka namang sneeze, wala ka ring plema para maglabas ng tinatawag na droplet nuclei, di ba? So, kapag meron kang latent TB, ibig sabihin nun, asymptomatic, hindi ka nakakahawa. However, class, since asymptomatic ka, ano bang reason bakit ka nagiging asymptomatic? Kasi class, malakas pa ang immune system mo. Your cell-mediated immunity is very strong. You have a very strong macrophage, interleukins, tumor necrosis factor, you secrete gamma interferon. So lahat ng cell-mediated immunity function mo is working properly. That's why wala kang symptoms. Your immune system is able to control the symptoms. Okay? Kaya hindi ka nagkakaroon ng infection. Pero class, pag dumating yung time na ikaw ay humina ang immune system, nagkaroon ka ng sakit or HIV or cancer or what, Then, this latent or the asymptomatic type will now progress sa primary TB. Magkakasintomas ka na. Okay? Now, another one is the extrapulmonary TB. So when you say extrapulmonary TB, ibig sabihin ng class, kumalat na yung infection from the lungs going to your blood, going to your other parts of the body. So ang tawag dyan is spreading outside the pulmonary tree, also known as miliary TB. Okay? So saan napupunta yung TB? It goes to your blood muna. From your blood, going to your lymph nodes, spleen, liver, lungs, bone marrow, and kidneys as well. So ganun katindi kumalat siya. At ang pinakadelikado dyan is kapag umakyat siya sa CNS, di ba? Causing what you call the TB meningitis, right? Yun ang pinakadelikado. Kapag umakyat sa utak, it can cause TB meningitis. At ang TB meningitis, this is common sa mga HIV patients. Okay? Common siya sa mga HIV patients. Actually, class, ito yung common na kinakamatay ng HIV patients. The TB meningitis. Okay? Now, again, so ano class yung nangyayari kapag meron kang miliary TB? You can have what we call pleuritis. Okay, pleuritis or what we call the pleurisy. Kapag pleurisy class, this is also known as sa Tagalog tubig sa baga. Okay? Ano ba yung tubig sa baga or pleurisy niyan? Tandaan nyo class, lahat tayo meron tayong pleural fluid. Yung pleural fluid na yon, tubig siya na I mean it is a body fluid in our lungs. At kailangan natin ng body fluid na yan for normal function of our lungs, for cushioning our lungs. Okay? Importante na meron tayong pleural fluid. However, class, yung fluid na yan, hindi siya marami, di ba? Konti lang siya. Pero kapag meron kang tuberculosis, yung pleural fluid mo yan, dumadami siya, class. Minsan umaabot siya ng 1.5, 2 litro, ganun karaming tubig, di ba? Kaya nga, class, ang nararamdaman ng mga pasyente na may TB, para silang nalulunod. Kasi nga, yung kanilang lungs, punong-puno na ng fluid. Ang tawag doon ay pleurisy. Okay? Yan ang sign. However, class, ang pleurisy, tandaan nyo, hindi siya specific sa TB. If you have pneumonia, let's say meron kang viral pneumonia or bacterial pneumonia caused by other microorganism, possible ka rin magkaroon ng pleurisy. Again, hindi siya specific sa TB. Pero once nagka-TB ka at lumala siya, then magkaka-pleurisy ka talaga. Or what you call tubig sa baga. Okay? Another one is that it can go to your lymph nodes. It can go to your brain, di ba? Causing TB meningitis. It can also cause genitourinary TB. This one, the genitourinary TB class, common ito nakikita rin sa mga HIV patient. Wherein, the bacteria can infect the kidneys, causing renal TB. And it can also infect the scrotum ng mga lalaki. So sa scrotum ng mga lalaki, merong pus doon. Ang tawag dyan ay genital TB. Okay? Kapag naman napunta sa bone, ang tawag ay pot disease. So that is the miliary spread or what you call the extrapulmonary TB. Again, sino yung mga nag-progress? Sino yung mga tao that can progress sa miliary TB? Most of the time, class, yung mga HIV patients, they are the one who can progress sa miliary TB. Okay? Next is the diagnosis. Now, pagdating ka sa diagnosis kasi, all of these tests, okay naman sila, significant naman yan. However, class, sa hospital kasi, ang ginagawa lang talaga is, we rely on chest x-ray. This is number one. This is very important. Kapag may finding sa chest x-ray, ano pinapagawa ng doktor? They request for sputum microscopy. When you say sputum microscopy, that's the time that you're going to perform AFB staining, which I'm going to discuss later, okay? And then you're going to look for what they call acid-fast bacilli or the TB, di ba? Acid-fast bacilli. Now, kapag nag-positive ang sputum microscopy mo, then okay na yon, di ba? You can now report na meron nga siyang tuberculosis. Pero paano kapag nag-negative ang sputum microscopy? What they do now is that they proceed with PCR, okay? For the PCR, they use the GeneXpert system. Okay? Sa GeneXpert system, ang principle niya is PCR. It will now detect the acid-fast bacilli or AFB rin. Okay? So in short, ang GeneXpert system, it is just to confirm the result of the AFB staining. Okay? Let's say nag-negative siya sa AFB staining. And yung doktor sa tingin niya talaga may TB, di ba? Then pwede siyang mag-check through GeneXpert. Kasi nga sa GeneXpert, yung mismong DNA ng bacteria ang hinahanap niya. Bakit class? Kasi during sputum microscopy, possible talaga na mag-false negative siya. Tandaan nyo, microscopy relies on the skill of the medtech. Pangalawa, microscopy result can be tainted due to improper collection. Kasi possible na hindi tama yung collection, kaya wala nakita, or hindi pa marunong yung medtech, or baka may mali sa staining technique niya. May mali sa staining procedure, kaya nag-false negative. So kung talagang doubtful pa rin yung doktor, pwede siya magpa-request ng gene expert para lang ma-diagnose na meron ng TB. Now, kapag na-diagnose na meron nga talagang TB, that's the time na mag-proceed na siya sa treatment na. Okay? Now, for this one naman, for the PPD or the skin test, this can also be done. Kaso nga lang class, hindi kasi siya specific for current infection. So, paano ba yung skin test? So, this is the skin test and so ang gagawin sa'yo, they will inject you an antigen coming from the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, okay? And then, after 48 hours, they're going to read the reactivity. May-measure na niya yung size ng induration mo. If it is more than 10 millimeters ang induration, ibig sabihin noon, meron kang Mycobacterium tuberculosis. However, if the induration is less than 10 millimeters, it means meron kang other Mycobacterium species kapag less than 10 millimeters. However, class, ang reaction niya kasi hindi siya specific to detect current infection. Kasi class, basta nagkaroon ka ng TB noon, magpo-positive ka palagi sa PPD skin test. Okay? So it can also reflect past infection. It can reflect past infection and it can also reflect exposure sa mga other mycobacterium. So hindi ibig sabihin na nag-positive ka sa PPD, meron ka ng TB. Pwedeng other mycobacterium yan. 'Di ba? Or past infection. Kaya nga class, hindi siya good to reflect current infection or acute infection. Okay? That's why sa diagnosis, the doctors just rely on those three. The X-ray, sputum microscopy, and then kung doubtful na microscopy, pwede mo confirm using the PCR or gene expert system. Okay? This one naman, the interferon gamma release assay naman. This is to measure your cell-mediated immunity response against the bacteria. So this is usually being requested sa mga HIV patients. Okay? Now, for the culture naman, this is confirmatory. Actually, class, pagdating sa traditional confirmatory test ng Mycobacterium, of course, culture pa rin. Pero tandaan yung class, ang culture kasi matagal siya, up to 8 weeks bago siya tumubo. So, hindi na siya practical na ginagawa ngayon pagdating sa diagnosis. That's why, ang pinaka-practical ngayon is of course the PCR kasi nga, within 4 hours, makukuha mo na yung resulta mo. Okay? Hindi ka na maghintay ng 8 weeks. So when are you going to perform culture? You only perform culture if you suspect resistant bacteria or you suspect the MDR or the XDR strain. Kasi nga kapag resistant yan, then you have to perform susceptibility testing. Kaya kailangan mo mag-culture. If ever you culture, this is the results. Ito siya, class. Okay, this is the colony. The colony is rough raised with what you call cording. When you say cording, bilog-bilog siya na magkakatabi. It looks like a cord like this one. Okay? Now, for the treatment. So, for the treatment, dalawang phase yan. The phase 1 is intensive phase, treatment with isoniazid, rifampin, pyrazinamide, and ethambutol for 8 weeks. And then, phase 2 is the continuation phase, wherein you continue with isoniazid and rifampin for additional of 18 weeks. Now, within your first phase of the treatment, within 2 months class, dapat magkaroon ka ng improvement or gumaling ka na. That's why class, kapag na-diagnose ka na may TB, let's say nag-positive ka sa TB microscopy, after 1 week or after 2 weeks from the treatment, kailangan mo bumalik to repeat again the microscopy. Okay? Bakit class? That is to detect kung gumagaling ka ba. Kasi nga, kung hindi ka gumagaling, kung hindi nag-improve yung microscopy mo, kapag hindi nag-improve yung reading sa microscopy, definitely possible na meron kang resistant TB. So kapag may resistant TB ka, bibigyan ka ng other antibiotics beside the primary line. Okay? Now, so kapag MDR, ibig sabihin nun, resistant ka to at least isoniazid and rifampin, and also, you are given the second line of antibiotics, aminoglycoside, fluoroquinolone, and pyrazinamide. For the XDR, resistant ka pa rin, with isoniazid plus fluoroquinolone and other injectable drugs. So ito yung mga resistant sa'yo. Okay? How about for the vaccine? Is there an available vaccine? Yes, there's a vaccine. However, class, hindi siya suitable sa mga HIV patient. Kasi nga kapag nagka-HIV ka, it is presumed na meron ka ng TB. So pwede lang siya sa mga at-risk people tulad ng children and elderly. Now, next is the Mycobacterium bovis. Now, for the bovis naman class, this is the one that causes infection in cattle and also in ruminants. So, ang bovis, again, hindi siya, well, this is a significant pathogen. Pero, common lang ito nakikita sa mga HIV patients din. Okay? Kasi nga, this is from the environment. Okay? Now, let's go to the NTM or non-tuberculous mycobacteria. For the NTM or non-tuberculous mycobacteria, these are all mycobacterial species that doesn't belong to the tuberculosis complex. So meron siyang classification. Meron siyang tinatawag na photochromogen, scotochromogen, non-photochromogen, and rapid growers. Okay? So kapag photochromogen, what does it mean? Kapag photochromogen class, ibig sabihin noon, nagkakaroon siya ng pigment upon exposure sa light. Tulad nito, so if you incubate this sa dark cycle, so kapag wala daw ilaw, wala siyang pigment. Ganito siya, pale lang itsura niya. Pero kapag nag-incubate ka sa light, in-exposure sa light, nagiging orange siya. Nagkakaroon siya ng pigment because of the beta-carotene. Okay, that is the photochromogen. Kapag naman scotochromogen, meron siyang pigment, either you expose it sa dark or sa light. Like this one, dark, light, pareho merong pigment. Pero, kapag in-expose mo siya sa light, mas nagiging intense sa kanyang pigment. That is the scotochromogens. Okay? Yung mga non-photochromogen naman, kahit ilagay mo siya sa dark and light, wala pa rin siyang pigment. Kasi nga, non-photochromogen siya. Wala siyang beta-carotene. Okay? Yan ang difference nila. And of course, you have the rapid growers. Kapag rapid growers, it will take about less than 7 days for it to grow. Minsan 3 days, meron ng tubo sa colony. Pero class, again, ang pinaka-common nating pathogens pa rin, yung mga slow growers. That will take about 6 weeks, 8 weeks for them to grow. Okay. So these are the photochromogens. These are the scotochromogens, and these are the non-photochromogens. So let's talk about the significant NTM. So di natin di-discuss lahat ha. As you can see class, napakarami niya, di ba? Di natin siya di-discuss. Ang di-discuss lang natin, yung mga common that infects HIV patient. Okay? So yung una is the Mycobacterium avium complex or the MAC. Itong MAC na yung class, common niya sa mga HIV patients. Saan ba ito nakikita? This is found sa poultry, cattle, and swine. Nakikita siya class sa environment. So ano yung kanyang manifestation? Similar class sa TB. Para ka ring meron tuberculosis. It's very similar. And again, common siya sa mga HIV patients. Okay? So paano mag-diagnose nito ng MAC? So you may perform culture. The colony looks like this one. Okay, this one. Meron siyang clear colonies and opaque colony. Clear and opaque colony. Kapag nag-culture ka, meron siyang clear colony and opaque colony. But as of now, since matagal nga siyang tumubo, di ba? Matagal ang culture na mga yan. As of now, ang reference method to detect this is of course PCR or molecular methods. Okay? And you also have here the map. Yung map naman, this is the agent of Jones disease. That is a disease found in animals. So, ng cattle, sheep, goat, and other ruminants. Now, next is the Kansasi. For the Kansasi class, nakikita siya sa water. Okay? So, for the disease, it looks like tuberculosis. Magkamukha sila ng manifestation. So, anong kanyang characteristic? Pagdating class sa colony, meron siyang characteristic wavy colony with dark edge or dark center when cultured in Middlebrook 7H10 agar. Okay? Pagdating ng mga class kay Genevieve, again, common siya sa mga HIV patients. For you to culture this, you need Middlebrook 7H11 agar supplemented with mycobactin. For the Haemophilus naman class, this is unique because this is the only mycobacterium that requires hemoglobin for them to grow. Okay? So you can culture this sa mga culture medium with hemoglobin source tulad na chocolate agar or Mueller-Hinton with 5% Phyllis enrichment and LJ medium with 5% ferric ammonium citrate. Okay? So, again, nakikita rin siya sa mga HIV patients. Next is the marinum. So for the marinum, nakukita siya sa fishes and aquarium water. So paano ka magkakaroon ng infection kapag nasugat ka ng fins ng fishes or meron kang open wound tapos nag-swimming ka sa tubig. Okay? So ang tawag dyan is what you call the subcutaneous nodule or swimming pool granuloma. Okay? This happens after 2 to 3 weeks from the time na na-expose ka. Now, another one is the scrofulosium. This is known to cause cervical lymphadenitis in children. Again, it is scotochromogenic din. For the Mycobacterium simi naman class, ito yung nakikita sa monkeys. Very rare mo siya makikita sa mga tao. However, it can be seen sa mga HIV patients. For the Zolgay, it causes pulmonary disease that looks like TB. So you can also get this sa aquatic environment, snail, tropical fish, aquarium water. So it is also pigmented. Okay, it has a yellow-orange pigment in the absence of light and intensifies with exposure to light. So it is scotochromogen. Next is the ulcerans. For the ulcerans, this is known to cause what you call Buruli ulcers. It is the third most common mycobacterium behind tuberculosis and leprae. Next is the Sinopi. For the Sinopi class, nakuha mo siya sa mga water and also sa mga birds or avian. Okay? For the Sinopi, anong kanyang characteristic? You can culture this on the cornmeal agar. It will give you a colony that looks like a bird's nest. So yung kanyang colony, it is a stick-like projection that looks like a bird's nest. Now let's go to the rapid growing species. For the rapid growing species, you have the Chelonia abscessus group that is associated in infections of the skin, lungs, bones, CNS, and protetic valve. Another one is the Fortuitum group that can be seen sa environment pa rin, associated with wound infection, joint infection, abscess at the site of puncture wounds. And of course, the Smegmatis group that causes pulmonary, skin, soft tissue, and bone infections. So, itong mga rapid growing na yan, again, rarely isolated yung mga yan, di ba? Nakikita lang yan sa mga HIV patients. So, let's go to Mycobacterium leprae. So, ang leprosy class, this is one of the true pathogens sa Mycobacterium na delikado. Actually, class, during 1920s, 1950s, yung mga merong ketong sa Pilipinas, tinatapon nila sa leprosarium. Ang leprosarium natin is nasa ano siya, Palawan, yung Kulyon. Okay? Kasi nga nung time na yun, hindi nila alam kung paano ba ma-handle ang ketong. Akala nila sobrang nakakahawa. What will happen to you? Ito ang mangyayari kasi sa yung class. Ang nangyayari kasi dyan, kapag may ketong ka, yung nose mo, yung cartilage ng nose mo, tsaka yung bone sa face, sinisira ng bacteria. So, nagiging deform yung mukha mo. Okay? Besides that, pwede rin magkaroon ka ng skin lesions like this one. Kaya pinagdidirihan sila ng mga tao ngayon, noon ha? Kasi nga, di pa nila alam kung paano ba nakukuha ang ketong at wala pang available na gamot. Unlike ngayon, may mga gamot na at alam na kung paano makuha. So, paano ba nakukuha ang ketong na yan? Or what we call the leprosy or Hansen's disease. Again, this is known as leprosy or Hansen's disease. Again, it is not highly contagious. Bakit class? Because although the most important mode of transmission is not known, however, you can get the infection through direct contact and inhalation of the aerosol from the skin lesion. For example, hinawakan mo to or nasinghot mo yung kanyang mga dead skin cells na may bacteria, possible na ma-infect ka. Okay? And then, saan mo pupunta yung bacteria? Since sasinghot mo siya, it can go to your nose, sa nasal passages mo. Okay? That's why class, usually, kapag nasa nose na siya or nasa nasopharynx, sinisira niya na yung cartilage sa nose mo. So even your bone sa face mo sisira, din yan ang kanyang effect. Kasi nga, through inhalation siya. Okay? So, the bacteria is slow. It can multiply slowly. Incubation period niya is about 20 years. Ganun katagal class ang kanyang incubation. Okay? And meron kang dalawang type of leprosy. Meron kang tuberculoid, also known as Paucibacillary Hansen's disease, and the lepromatous leprosy, also known as multibacillary Hansen's disease. So, anong difference niya? Ito muna class yung tuberculoid. This is the tuberculoid leprosy. Kapag tuberculoid leprosy class, meron ka mga hypopigmented patches on the skin or what you call the macules. Now, yung mga macules niya na hypopigmented or lighter ang skin, wala na sila class malay. Kasi yung kanilang nerve endings dyan, nasisira na. Nagkakaroon ka ng loss of sensation or what you call the anesthesia. So itong area na yan na may hypopigmentation, ito, mga wala ng malay yan. Yan ang characteristic ng tubercular leprosy. So madali lang ang treatment, bigyan lang ng clofazimine, di ba? Up to 12 months. Okay, ganun lang kadalang treatment ngayon. Kasi noon dati, hindi pa nila alam kung paano ang gamot, kaya tinatapon nila yung mga tao na merong leprosy. Nilalagay nila sa leprosarium. When you say leprosarium, doon na sila forever. Hindi na sila pwede bumalik sa society. Kasi nga, pinagdidirihan sila noon. Okay? So, if it is untreated, magkakaroon ka ng nerve damage. So, delikado siya. It can be life-threatening. The other one is the other one class, yung sinabi ko na lepromatous leprosy, like this one. This is the lepromatous leprosy. Okay? Again, delikado siya. Kasi nga, it can actually destroy the bones of your nose, your face. Okay? So, magkakaroon ka ng nasal and facial deformity. Now, for the treatment, bigyan ka lang ng Dapsone. Okay? Dapsone and rifampin for a minimum of 6 months. So, madali lang naman siyang gamutin. Okay? So, um, tandaan nyo class, itong mga area na affected sa kanya, yung buong mukha niya is affected na yan, wala na yung pakiramdam. Meron siyang loss of sensation dyan. So, the Mycobacterium leprae, it cannot be cultured in artificial medium. Bakit class? Kasi this bacteria is intracellular. Kailangan niya ng cells para mabuhay. So, hindi siya pwedeng i-culture sa artificial culture media. And how do you culture the Mycobacterium leprae? Dati class, this has been traditionally cultured sa footpads. Footpads of mice and armadillo. Yan. Yan ang kanyang traditional culture method. So, paano gawin yan? So, kumukuha tayo ng skin lesion from the patient. Tapos yung skin lesion yon, we inject that on the footpads of the mice or armadillo. And then we wait for a few weeks for lesions. Kapag may lesions na yung kamay, yung footpads ng mga daga or armadillo, it means meron nga talagang leprosy. Okay, that's how we do it. Pero ngayon, ano na ang diagnosis? Paano ma-diagnose ang leprosy? Of course, PCR na. Okay? Polymerase chain reaction or molecular techniques. Ganun na class kadali. Bakit PCR? Kasi nga class, culture is not recommended. Why? Because this is highly infectious nga. Okay? Ano siya, delikado siya pag kumalat. So, hindi siya ginagawa ng culture. But again, PCR ang pinaka-best test to detect this one. Okay? So, let's go to the lab diagnosis.